Family is supposed to be your safe place, a shelter, a team. But for me, family felt more like a job I didn't remember applying for, one with no days off and endless responsibilities. It had been like that for years. Ever since Dad lost his job and Mom's health started spiraling, I stepped up. I was the one who covered bills, kept the lights on, paid for groceries, and bailed out my brother Logan when he maxed out his credit cards. Again. I never asked for much in return. A simple thank you would have been enough, but that wasn't how it worked in my family. I realized that the moment I watched the video. It wasn't meant for me. That much was obvious. It was a recording accidentally sent to our family group chat, something my brother, Logan, clearly hadn't meant to share. But there it was, playing on my phone late one Tuesday night. The video was shaky, Logan filming himself and my parents sitting around the kitchen table. My mom was sipping coffee, Dad scrolling through his phone. They didn't know Logan was recording at first. Still can't believe she sent me that passive-aggressive text, Mom was saying, rolling her eyes. Like, sorry, Avery, maybe we wouldn't need your precious money if you weren't such a control freak about it. Dad snorted. Please, she acts like she's some saint. She should be grateful we even let her help out. Exactly, Logan chimed in from behind the camera. She practically begs for this kind of stuff. It's like she needs to feel important or something. They all laughed. The video shook as Logan set the phone down, still recording, and I could see my mom lean in. I'm telling you, she's pathetic. No friends, no life. Helping us is all she's got. The air in my apartment felt like it had been sucked out. I watched the video twice, 3 times, before I forced myself to stop. They didn't see me as family. I was just a paycheck, a resource, a walking, breathing ATM. I didn't even know how long I sat there, my phone cold in my hand before another message popped up. Mom, you need them because once you cross this line, there's no coming back. A text, no apology, no explanation, just a warning. I read it once, twice, and then the calmest feeling I'd ever known washed over me. I blocked her, then my dad, then Logan. One by one, they vanished from my contacts. I was free. Or so I thought. The next morning, at the ungodly hour of 6:14 a.m., there was a knock at my door. Not the casual kind. No, this was hard, sharp, impatient. I didn't even have to check the peephole. I already knew. It was Logan. I hesitated, my hand hovering over the doorknob. Maybe he'd leave if I ignored him. But then another knock, louder this time. I pulled the door open. There he was, my older brother, disheveled, bloodshot eyes, hoodie wrinkled like he'd slept in it, if he slept at all. Avery, he snapped, his voice sharp. Are you serious right now? Good morning to you too, I deadpanned. Don't play cute. You blocked everyone. Mom's losing it, Dad's pissed, and you think this is funny? I crossed my arms, leaning against the doorframe. You mean the part where my own family calls me pathetic behind my back? Or the part where I realized I've basically been your personal bank for 5 years? His face paled. You saw that video? Yeah, genius. You sent it to the group chat. His jaw tightened and he raked a hand through his messy hair. It wasn't serious, Avery. We were venting. People say dumb stuff. No, I cut him off, my voice cold. That wasn't venting. That was honesty, raw and unfiltered. He looked like he wanted to argue, but I didn't give him the chance. Do you know how it felt, Logan? To hear Mom say I have no life, that I should be grateful to fund yours, to realize that every time I thought I was helping, you guys were laughing at me? His mouth opened, then closed. For a moment, I thought he might actually apologize. But of course, he didn't. You're being dramatic. Dramatic? I laughed bitterly. I paid your rent, Logan, your car insurance. I even covered your damn Netflix subscription because God forbid you miss the new season of whatever garbage show you're watching. And now I'm the bad guy for finally saying no. He shifted his weight, fists clenching. Your family. You don't just cut us off. Family? I snapped. Family doesn't use each other. Family doesn't laugh about the person who's kept them afloat for years. A beat of silence. Then his expression twisted. Fine, be a selfish bitch, but don't come crawling back when you realize you've got no one left. I didn't flinch. Goodbye, Logan. And I slammed the door. I stood there for a moment, the echo of the door reverberating in my chest. My hands trembled, but my spine stayed straight. He was wrong. I wasn't alone. I had me. But deep down, I knew this wasn't over. Not by a long shot. Part 2. Consequences. The echo of the slammed door still lingered as I leaned against it, my chest rising and falling with uneven breaths. The apartment was quiet, too quiet, but for the first time in a long time, it didn't feel suffocating. I walked over to the kitchen, poured myself a glass of water, and tried to settle the racing thoughts in my head. But it didn't last long. My phone buzzed on the table. I didn't want to look, but of course I did. Dad, we raised you, Avery. Don't think you can just walk away from this family. You're overreacting. Let's talk this out before you make an even bigger mistake. I set the phone down, face down this time, and let out a bitter laugh. There it was, the guilt trip, right on schedule. But something inside me felt different now. The guilt didn't hit the same. It didn't twist in my chest the way it used to. They still don't get it, I thought. I wanted to block him right then. End it. But my fingers hesitated over the screen, because maybe, just maybe, they needed to see the damage they'd done. I walked over to my desk, powered up my laptop, and opened my banking app. Page after page of transaction history stared back at me. Rent payments for Logan's apartment, grocery runs for Mom and Dad, the endless emergency Venmo requests. I started compiling it all into a spreadsheet. Every dollar, every bill, every late-night transfer I'd made when Logan claimed he was about to be evicted. Again. By the time I was done, the total sat at $47,382.50. Almost 50 grand. Gone. I felt my throat tighten, but not from sadness. It was fury. Pure and hot. How had I let this happen? I opened my email. Mom, Dad, Logan. Attached is a complete list of every bill, rent payment, grocery run, and favor I've covered over the past 5 years. I didn't do this for a thank you, but I also didn't do it to be mocked behind my back. I watched that video, every second of it. I don't expect this money back. We both know that's never happening, but you're going to sit with this number. You're going to see, in black and white, just how much I sacrificed while you laughed about how pathetic I am. This is the last time you'll ever hear from me. Avery, I hit send before I could talk myself out of it. The silence afterward was deafening. For a brief moment, I thought, maybe this was it. Maybe it was over. But my phone buzzed again. This time it was Logan. Logan, are you serious right now? What is this? You're treating us like strangers, like this was some business arrangement or something. You're being cold, Avery. Family fights. Family works through stuff. But you're bailing on us over one stupid video? I stared at the message, fingers hovering over the keyboard. Then I typed, me. It wasn't one stupid video, Logan. It was the truth. The part you never thought I'd hear. His reply was almost instant. Logan, you think cutting us off is going to make you happy? You'll end up alone. You'll see. When you need us, we won't be there. That was the thing. I didn't need them. Not anymore. I locked my phone, set it aside, and sat back in my chair, breathing in the strange, weightless feeling that had started to bloom in my chest. I was free, but the quiet wasn't peaceful for long. That evening, the doorbell rang again. For a moment, I thought it would be Logan, back for another round. But when I peered through the peephole, my heart lurched. It was Dad. Of all people, I hadn't expected him. I opened the door just wide enough to see his face, tight, jaw clenched, a deep crease between his brows. Avery, he started, we need to talk. I don't think we do, I said flatly. Come on, he insisted. You don't just turn your back on family. I blinked. I didn't turn my back. You all pushed me away. You only ever called when you needed something. And when I needed, deserved respect, I got laughed at. His face twisted into something between guilt and frustration. It wasn't like that. Dad, I watched the video. Don't insult my intelligence. There was a beat of silence, and then he dropped the pretense. You think this is going to make you happy, sitting here alone while your family falls apart? I crossed my arms. If family falling apart means I stop being your personal bank account, then yeah, I think I'll be fine. He exhaled hard through his nose, clearly out of arguments. Then, with one last glare, he muttered, "You'll regret this," before turning and walking away. I didn't regret it, not even for a second. I closed the door, locked it, and this time, I didn't feel that ache in my chest. There was nothing left for them to take. 2 days passed, no more knocks on my door, no more passive-aggressive texts or guilt-laced voicemails. The silence was strange, calm but heavy, like the aftermath of a storm. I should have felt relieved, maybe even proud, but instead I felt hollow. The kind of hollow that happens when you realize the people you thought were your safety net had actually been the ones cutting the holes in it. I sat on the couch, scrolling aimlessly through my phone, when a new message popped up. Uncle Ben. "Hey, kiddo. Got some news from the family chat. What the hell's going on?" I blinked. Uncle Ben. He was my dad's younger brother, technically family, but always a bit of an outsider. He lived a few states away, didn't make it to every holiday gathering, and wasn't exactly close to the family group chat. But he was the only one who ever really talked to me like a human being, not a wallet. I hesitated before typing back. Me. "They told you about it?" Uncle Ben. "Bits and pieces. Your mom's been going off about you abandoning them. Logan said you sent them some kind of invoice?" I sighed, already picturing how they'd twisted the narrative. Me. They didn't tell you about the video, did they? Uncle Ben. Video? No. What video? Here we go. I sent him the file, the video Logan had accidentally shared in the group chat. For a moment, there was nothing but silence on the screen. I pictured him sitting there, maybe in his cluttered living room, squinting at the video, piecing it all together. Then the typing bubble popped up. Uncle Ben. Holy shit, Avery. I let out a breath I didn't know I'd been holding. Me. Yeah, that was fun to watch, Uncle Ben. They seriously said all that? Me. Word for word. And then when I called them out, they said I was overreacting. There was another pause. I could practically feel the steam coming out of his ears through the screen. Uncle Ben. Avery, I'm so sorry. They don't deserve you. None of them do. That stopped me. Me. You don't have to say that. I know they're your family too. Uncle Ben. That doesn't make this right. Look, I've known your dad a long time. Hell, I grew up with him, and I love him because he's my brother, but he's always been like this. Self-centered. Always thinks the world owes him something. And your mom? She enables it. I sat there, feeling a lump form in my throat. Me. I didn't think they thought of me that way. I thought I was helping. Uncle Ben. You were helping. They just didn't appreciate it. Big difference. Another pause. Uncle Ben. You know, your dad never really got over the fact that you ended up more successful than him. It bruised his ego. Big time. I remember once at Christmas after you left, he made some snide comment about how you thought you were better than everyone because you had your own apartment and a steady job. I blinked. I'd never heard that before. Me. That's pathetic, Uncle Ben. Yep, but it's not your problem anymore, and I'm proud of you for walking away. My throat tightened again, this time with something warmer. Validation. Someone, finally, wasn't treating me like the bad guy. Me. Thanks, Uncle Ben. Really. Uncle Ben. Hey, if you ever want to visit, my couch is lumpy, but the beer's cold. You don't need them, Avery. You never did. And for the record, I think they're panicking right now because they know they lost the best damn person in that family. The drive to Uncle Ben's was long, but freeing. Windows down, music blasting, the smell of spring in the air. It felt like peeling off an old suffocating skin. When I finally pulled into his driveway, his house stood just like I remembered. A single-story place with faded blue paint, a sagging front porch, and wind chimes dancing in the breeze. He was already outside, waiting with 2 beers in hand. Hey, kiddo, he called out, raising a bottle. I grinned, hopping out of the car. Hope that couch is as lumpy as you promised. Oh, it's worse, he chuckled. We spent the afternoon catching up on his porch, me telling him about work, life, everything I'd been holding inside for months, maybe even years. And unlike every other family conversation I'd had before, Ben actually listened. No judgment, no passive-aggressive jabs, just us. By the time the sun started dipping low, we'd gone through half the 6-pack, and my cheeks hurt from laughing. That's it, he said suddenly, pulling out his phone. We're taking a selfie. I rolled my eyes but leaned in. Seriously? Dead serious. Gotta make your dad lose his mind a little. I snorted as he held the phone up. We both made ridiculous faces, him sticking his tongue out, me mid-laugh and snap. The photo was perfect. Messy, warm, real. Before I could stop him, he opened the family group chat, the one I'd left. What are you doing? I asked, half laughing, half horrified. He smirked. Trust me. And before I could swipe the phone away, he sent it. Uncle Ben. Guess who's doing just fine without y'all? Cheers! The picture appeared below his message, both of us grinning like idiots. It was petty. It was glorious. Within seconds, the typing bubbles popped up. My mom, my dad, Logan. Mom, I can't believe this. So, this is where you ran off to? Dad. Unbelievable. Ben, you're seriously encouraging this? Logan. Of course she's with you. Makes sense. But the best part? I didn't care. I took a long sip of my beer and tilted my head toward Ben. They're freaking out, aren't they? Losing their damn minds, he grinned. We both burst out laughing. For the first time, I wasn't the one scrambling to fix things. I wasn't the one feeling guilty or responsible. Instead, I felt light and happy. Thanks for this, I told him after a beat. He waved me off. You deserve it, kiddo. They didn't appreciate you, but I do. And you're family to me, no strings attached. And I realized right then that family wasn't about blood. It was about people who chose you. And for the first time, I felt like I actually belonged.